I have to tell you, I'm hopeful. I'm feeling really good about the future of this country. We got a lot of problems right now. Whether it's 23 million people looking for jobs, whether it's the fact that our standard of living has gone down, the fact that the cost of health care has gone up $2,000 per family. There's a lot of problems we're facing, a lot of challenges. But I'm hopeful because the cavalry's on the way. And I truly believe that Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan have the right answers. And I don't know about you, but I was so excited Paul Ryan was selected as the vice president. I've known him for a few years, and he is a good, solid Christian man, good family man, and he's so smart. Not only is he smart enough to understand the budget, but he's smart enough to be able to explain it to somebody like me. And that's a whole different kind of smart. And he's got it. And the American people are just getting to know him now. And the more they get to know him, the more they're going to like him. And so I'm hopeful because every day I'm out there talking to people, and they're fed up. They're fed up with the direction this country's going, and they're ready to do something about it. And so I truly believe we're going to get a new commander-in-chief. We're going to get a Republican Senate, and I'm going to join a few more Republicans going to the House, and we are going to turn this country around because we have the solutions. We understand what's wrong with this country. The problem is our commander-in-chief doesn't even understand the American dream. Don't understand what makes us work. I can remember as a little boy, I grew up in a little eastern North Carolina town, and a lot of Sundays we'd go to eat at the Holiday Inn because they had the all-you-can-eat buffet. Those are my favorite Sundays. I love when we got to eat there. But on the way from church to the Holiday Inn out by the interstate, there was a huge white house up on the hill that the developer in town owned. It was the biggest house in town, and every time we drive past it, I thought, I want to live in a house that big one day. But when we rode by that house, I can remember my mom, she didn't point out the window and say, look at those evil rich people. She said, Richard, if you work hard in school, and you get a good job, and you work hard, you can have a house like that one day. Amen. Yeah. And that's the message my parents gave me. That's the message your parents gave you, and you pass on to your kids. That's the American dream. It's not the government's going to take care of you, and the government's going to tell you what kind of light bulbs to use, and the government's going to tell you what kind of health care you can have. That's not the America we want. That's not the reason America's great. And that's why Obama was wrong. And that's why the American people are going to stand up this election and say, we want a different direction. We want to go back to the America we grew up in. And so I'm hopeful because I believe it's going to happen. And I'm going to get out there every day and work hard to make sure it happens. And I know I can count on y'all to work with me, and I appreciate that. But also as important as the national side of it, the state of North Carolina needs some work. Fred knows better than anybody. He's been up there and fought the fight for a long time. We finally got a Republican legislature, and we've seen the things Fred and his colleagues were able to do this session. Incredible things. Tort reform, a budget that's in balance, moving us in the right direction in a lot of areas. But until we get a Governor McCrory and send Scooby-Dooby vote for newbie back, so we keep a conservative court, and send leaders like Carl Ford to replace leaders like Fred Steen, then we can turn things around in North Carolina as well. And I'm really hopeful about that because, as much as Fred was able to accomplish, if you'd had a governor, Fred, you would have accomplished a whole lot more. And so, we did a poll this week, and in the 8th district, Pat McCrory is at 57% to 26% over Dalton. And Romney's up 56%. I ain't quite gotten there yet, but I'm ahead 38-37 according to our poll. So to be against a two-term incumbent and to be ahead at the beginning of the race when we haven't even started communicating with general election voters, I'm excited. I was hoping I was closer than 10 points. That was kind of my anticipation going into it, but to be ahead. But also a two-term incumbent who's at 37%, big trouble. I've never seen an incumbent come back from being that far down. You want to at least be at 50% if you're an incumbent. And Larry Kissel's not there. Even by Larry Kissel's own poll, and we know his polls from the last one we were able to get a hold of, he doubled the minority population in his poll, which makes the poll show better for a Democrat. In his poll, he's beating me 43-39. And I'll take his numbers, because if he's only at 43, and I'm within the margin of error, even with his poll, I feel really good about where we're starting out. But those McCrory numbers tell you where the Republican vote's going to be. So as I get better known and get the word out, I'm feeling really good about this election. So I'm counting on you. And I haven't talked enough about Carl Ford, but Carl Ford is someone I admire and respect so much. He's been such a leader here in this county. You know him better than I do. And we absolutely got to send him to Raleigh. And so I appreciate y'all being here to support him. And Carl, I look forward to working with you for issues affecting this county and Cabarrus County. I'm hopeful. I'm feeling good about this election. Carl Ford is going to Raleigh. I want to go represent you in Washington, and let's turn this country around. So thank you so much for being here tonight.
I told him I hate we lost half of the crowd, at least half of the crowd, but enough of you stayed. I hope it was worth his time coming. And Richard, is your opponent cameraman here tonight? The guy that usually follows you around, I tell everybody about that. Yeah. Oh man, that everywhere he speaks, his opponent has a cameraman there filming every word he says. And I think Richard usually gives him a shout out, which I would too. But you know, I lived in the 8th district. I've never moved, but I lived in the 8th district years ago. Then I was briefly in the ungodly 12th, and then in the 6th, and now back in the 8th, and thankful to be back in the 8th. And a lot of you folks in here live in the 8th, and we've got to work hard to get Richard Hudson in Washington. And even Fred Steen agrees with that. And Fred had a good race with Richard Hudson, and they ran a good, clean race, and I was proud of them for that. Fred always runs clean races, I can tell you that. And that's what I want to be like. It's like Fred Steen. He doesn't go out and attack people. And Richard's only done it when he was attacked first. And buddy, they come after him, not only in the primary, but you just look for it this fall and don't believe all the lies they're going to feed you. Because if you need to know what Richard thinks and believes, give him a call, give me a call, and we'll straighten it out. But they're going to spread some lies on him because that's the only way they have a chance at winning, and they're not going to win. So don't forget, early voting starts October 18th, and Election Day is about 73, 74 days away. And let's work hard, and like everyone said here tonight, get your friends and neighbors, nag them to death, and make sure they vote. The reason I like early voting, they say it's been a benefit for the Democrats. I think it's been a benefit for us too, is you got 2.5 weeks to nag people to vote. And I encourage you to early vote in case something does happen on Election Day. You may be running work from late, especially if you work for Chad Lingenfeld in Charlotte. You'll be running home late, and if you have a flat tire in Charlotte or something, you can't get back and vote, so vote early, okay? Now, you can still hang out here a while tonight, and let's enjoy a little more fellowship, and I appreciate everybody coming. I hate everybody had to leave. Half the people had to leave before Richard got here, but you folks hang around a little bit, and let's continue to have a good time. God bless you.